Watch him throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through 4th and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome and welcome back to another episode of Trap or Dive podcast provided to you by 214 Media. I'm your host, Mual, Coach Mual, Hen Dog Mual, all that good stuff, man. Welcome into everybody just checking in. Let's get the administrative items out of the way per usual. From the jump. If you are on the Twitter side, we ain't on Twitch right now. But if you're on the Twitter side, man, you are welcome to stay on during the show on Twitter. If you're just viewing, it's all good. But if you want to be a part of the show, try to migrate over to the YouTube side because I cannot see your comments on Twitter. I'm only on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. If you are on YouTube, man, and you're just checking in, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're new. Definitely appreciate you. And all that good stuff. AJ and Dre should be on the way. That's that. Let me go ahead and check in on the comments. What's going on, Al, too? My interest in this team has been at an all-time low since the Browns game. Just counting the days until Snyder sails. I mean, that is ultimately the most anticipated day that I can think of in Redskins, Commanders, Washington football history under Snyder is waiting for the day that he sails. It trumps everything under him. So, look, I think we're all in that same boat. But hold on 1 second. Let me go get the good man AJ in here. I will say one thing though. I've been thinking about it for a minute. What's going on with you, Huck? Appreciate you checking in. I've been thinking about it for a minute though. I ain't really got no stake on who I want the new owner to be. That's not me. I feel like as we continue to go through this journey of or the process, not necessarily a journey, but as we go through this process of understanding that he's getting ready to sell and that he may be selling soon, and like the known candidates, I think that we dive a little bit too deeply into who these potential new owners are. Like, they're not football players. We're not like what I don't understand how you're going to scout them as if we know them. We don't know them. We know an entity or maybe an asset that they run or that they're owner of. But I mean, I'm not going to sit here and do a deep dive on somebody that I don't know and then projecting that on what he could be as an owner or what she can be as an owner. That doesn't make sense to me. And I feel like that's a big waste of my time. So I really don't have a stake. I would be interested in Bezos for obvious reasons, right? Like I would like to see what that type of money can do, but that doesn't mean like he is my go-to choice, but it would be interesting. AJ, how you feeling, big dog? Oh, no headset. Yeah, all right. What's on tap for the show? So listen, first thing first, we got to talk about the games from this weekend. That's the first thing. And then lastly, we're just going to close up with some of the updates on the offensive coordinator, man. It ain't too much going on. We do have a topic that I want to save, but I want to save it like until it's more relevant. I don't want to get ahead of the curve with free agents and I have a few topics. I don't know why, but I don't want to get ahead of the curve while the middle of the regular or the playoffs are still going and they're in the midst of a OC search. And even with the ownership news coming around, there's some time to put this to the side. But offensive coordinator for sure. AJ, I'm checking to see if you got your headphones in. You good now?
Yeah, I'm good.
How you feeling, big dog?
I'm doing better, man. Appreciate you even asking.
Already, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. The only thing that I've been thinking about, I mean, I'm glad you're good, but the only thing I've been thinking about is what your particular family member said to you when you was mad at them for the reasons that you were mad at them. Like that response, I'm glad you're doing better, but that response, bro, that's a Hall of Fame.
It's wicked, but hey, it is. Man,
That shit was hilarious. Oh, one more administrative item too for everybody that's just checking in. Listen, there's some news, and AJ's actually just finding this out. I don't know if he's been on Twitter, but so Vox Media is the company that runs SB Nation. And I had said this on Twitter. What's today? Today's Tuesday. I had said this on Twitter maybe Thursday or Friday of last week, but I'm bringing this to Chopper Dive because there's some actions to be determined, but there's some plays that could be made and within the next couple of weeks. But Vox Media owns SB Nation, and by a byproduct of Hogs Haven podcast. So if you are some of the people who have crossed over or maybe even listened to both Trapper Dive and Hogs Haven podcast is on a limited basis and time limited right now because part of the layoffs, mind you, Vox Media has some layoffs. Part of the layoffs of that trickled down to SB Nation and Hogs Haven. The podcast side was one of it. So there's going to be some changes moving forward on that side. I figured I'd tell everybody. I said it on the other platform. I say it here too. We're going to figure out what to do with that. And that may be a really good thing for Trapper Dive podcast. So, yeah, just letting everybody know some things going on. You may not see too much of the Hogs Haven podcast. There will be episodes, but you may not see them like 3 to 4 times a week as you used to. All right. Where are we at? How much money would you guys pay to sign Orlando Brown Jr., aka the real OBJ? You got some familiarity with Orlando Brown?
With his situation, or just overall as a player?
Actually, I don't. Well, actually, now that I think about it, both. I guess I'll ask you both because I don't know what the deal if Kansas City wants him back or not.
I mean, I feel like Orlando's better suited as a right tackle. He wants to be paid like a top left tackle in the league, which is why he forced Baltimore to trade him. He's been in Kansas City. I'm not quite sure if they'll pay him top dollar over there. I don't look at him as being an elite left tackle, but that could create a hole for them. But maybe they tag him again. I think this would be his second tag. It might be better off for them to play that game and use it while they can go ahead and acquire another left tackle in the draft or something. But I'm not really gonna sit here and say that I would love to bring in Orlando Brown to play left tackle. Would he be an upgrade over Leno? Yeah, but at the same token, he also still struggles with speed rushers. He's not a bad left tackle. I just don't think that's the answer there. I think you can literally get a kid out of this draft. Like, I necessarily wouldn't go first round, but I would go in later round, and you could plug him in for Leno. Leno is not as athletic and doesn't have long enough arms. That's one thing. I think Leno might be 6'2", 6'3" at left tackle.
Yeah, about 6'3", something like that. Yeah, I mean that's a solid idea about the right side, and I thought about it like because he's played it in his career. I mean, obvious reasons like Orlando did it in Baltimore, and I had said if they decided to do the gap scheme offense, and they wanted to run a little bit more power, and they wanted to run those gap scheme offensive run plays, Orlando Brown is your guy that you would look to upgrade that left tackle spot if you wanted to move on from Charles Leno. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, if you want to move on from Charles Leno, that would be an upgrade if they wanted to, because we don't even know who the offensive coordinator is. So, like, these guessing games are weird. Because you can live with Leno. You can live with Leno right now, and you can also live with Leno if you did a zone block scheme, which enters Thomas Brown, and Atlanta guy, the quarterback's coach. Lord Jesus, what's his name? I have
Charles London.
Charles London. Yeah. Charles London. So you have some ways to keep Leno around, and even if you wanted to go like predominantly one scheme, Leno can fit most, but I don't think he's good at or very good at a couple. But we're going to circle back to this because Hawk brought up a good point or a good comment that kind of swings into the way of these NFL games. AJ, man, what did you think about the games overall before we talk about this? Before we get into them in particular, specifically that Dallas game, man, I had revelation on Sunday watching these boys, man, and it really pissed me off. But it was also for the better of the division. But where you at with the games, man? What surprised you? What didn't surprise you?
Nothing surprised me. Every team that I thought was gonna win won. I feel like if we start in order, Saturday, the
That was
first game,
Jacksonville, Kansas City.
the first game was Jacksonville, Kansas City. I mean, Jacksonville, it's a blessing for them to even be in that position to advance to the next round of the playoffs after they picked number one overall back-to-back years just a couple years ago. Whether it be under Doug Marrone and Urban Meyer, just shows how much coaching matters. Sometimes we undervalue that. Not sometimes, a lot of times we undervalue that in general. But coaching matters, and being able to pull guys together, and also being aggressive in free agency and the draft. As you've seen with Jacksonville alongside the Eagles, they're both in the playoffs when it's still competing. But those teams are pretty aggressive in free agency alongside with drafting the right pieces. A lot of people made fun of the acquisitions of the Christian Kirks.
I remember that in particular because that was one of my first players I had to scout, and I'm like, ain't no way in hell y'all talking out the side of y'all neck with Christian just because he got all this money. Like y'all really have to watch that man play.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not even really like a super big payday, but that's what happens when you hit the free agency market and it's limited wide receivers out there. It's just like this year, there's really not no marquee wide receivers. So you're going to see in free agency, so you're going to see more wide receivers drafted come draft time. You're going to see the Zay Flowers, the Quentin Johnsons, the Hiltons, the Josh Downs. Like, you're going to see a bunch of guys go first round wide receiver wise. But yeah, man, I think Kansas City is a hard team to beat. They're well coached, well prepared. Patrick Mahomes, he does his thing. Chad Henne had to come in. Ultimately, they got some pieces.
Drive, bro.
They got pieces to work with. I like the kid. I've loved the kid out of Rutgers, the running back, Isaiah Pacheco. Yeah, like Travis Kelce is a beast. They don't really have a true number one wide receiver, but the scheme works and they make it happen. Then the night game was the Eagles and the Giants. I already knew that was going to be a blowout because if you attack their passing coverage giant wise, they're beatable. And with Jalen Hurts playing quarterback, having that dual threat, it's kind of hard for those pass rushers to really understand what's going on. They did a lot of connected play calling. When I say connected play calling, like they provided layers. Like they would do a RPO, then they would actually give the ball to Miles Sanders. Then they'll do play action off of the same formation. Like they just had things moving and sailing. So that was an easy win. Disappointed my guys. Go ahead. I thought you wanted me to break down all the games.
No, I thought you were going to Sunday. Go ahead, finish. We could because I want to wrap up on some Saturday stuff too. Go ahead.
Yeah, Sunday, man. I think you've seen that the Buffalo Bills need several pieces to really get over that hump. You could tell that they really were missing a Von Miller type presence on the DN side of the ball. They probably need to develop their front four overall. The rotation is cool and everything, but you still need some dominant players to help you out there. Josh Allen is who I thought he is. A lot of people put him in the top 3 category. I haven't put him in the top 3. I think he's solid, but at the same token, the deficiencies in his game, even dating back to college, still exists. It's just, like I said, he plays off script a lot. So sometimes those things work, sometimes they don't. And in those type of games, especially in the playoffs, shit is different. It's a whole different season. It's a whole different ball game. And I think that showed. You've seen the frustration in Stephon Diggs really not getting fed the ball. and their run game is non-existent. So I expect a team like that to be heavily involved in this market, acquiring a running back, whether it be the Josh Jacobs, the Miles Sanders, or even trading for Alvin Kamara, or possibly getting a Bijan Robinson out of Texas in the draft.
That's exactly what I
You
said
know,
they need to get, bro. They need to get they need to get a difference maker because Stephon is who he is, but like Gabe Davis, I didn't know until like Dakota, don't even start. I didn't know this until like I would say like around week 10, week 11 with Gabe. Like the word from Buffalo circles, because all you see when you think about Gabe Davis is what they call him, big game Gabe or something like that.
I don't know what the hell
And
they call that boy.
yeah, and like one of the things in Kansas City, the 4 tutties that he had put him on the map. And he did nothing but show up and show out ever since that. But like one of the things that they talk about is how he has drop problems. So I think of a person like him is like Deontay Johnson. Like I love Deontay Johnson's game, but I didn't know that Gabe had issues with his hands in a sense. But my point in saying that is, if you can get a difference maker at running back, first off, you need to upgrade your trenches altogether. Because I don't trust that offensive line to establish the ground game, but also the trenches on the defensive side. You spoke on that. A lot of people were concerned about Tim Settle leaving Washington and going to Buffalo. And like I get it. And even when they said that, like even when I had mentioned this on Twitter about like their trench game, Buffalo, and people are talking up Tim Settle, and I'm like, Tim Settle isn't a bad player, but y'all don't have to keep bringing him up when you talk about Buffalo. Like he wasn't getting paid to be the difference maker. He was a piece to the puzzle. So he's not the person that you should be looking at in terms of like building or retooling that defensive line. They need more help. And the worst part is, AJ, I don't know like their whole GM situation or player acquisition, how that thing works, but whoever was in charge of building up that defensive line over the past couple of years have failed tremendously. And I sized it, but they failed because Ed Oliver's good.
Tremendously. You right. Ed Oliver's good, but when you draft a Greg Russo out of Miami or AJ Epinesa from Iowa, like Vernon Butler's, these different guys, like they have not drafted like home run hitters on the D line. Like it's just been a bunch of guys. Like those guys make no impact to a game.
And when you get driven off the ball the way you did, like against Cincinnati, snow or not, I don't think the snow was going to save them. Like I thought they were going to get ran through at Cincy, and I had my money on Buffalo that day, and I'm like, oh my God, like I don't know, I think I'm about to lose my money tonight, and like I got a break, an unfortunate break given the situation, but then I put my money on Buffalo again. I put my money on Buffalo Sunday, and I lost again. And I'm like, bro, you should have just believed what you saw against them in the regular season. Like that trench game is terrible, and that's not to like avoid the Josh Allen conversation, because I want to get back on Dak too. I forgot who brought him up, but yeah, Josh Allen didn't have a good game. I don't know. Somebody said something really good. I wish I could give him the credit. But they kind of broke it down a little bit more in detail, similar to what you said, AJ. And he said that the difference between, matter of fact, I think it was Jamar Chase. He was like, I think that Josh Allen is a really good quarterback, but you can see the difference of a pocket passer. And Joe Burrow, like Joe Burrow is like that Peyton Manning or Tom Brady type of guy. And he didn't like say who Josh Allen was, but he just more so focused on Joe Burrow in that he can make the throws from the pocket. He can sit in the pocket and make the throws. And I think Josh Allen can do that. I don't want to paint a picture like he's a Kyler Murray and drop his head and scramble and take off. But Josh Allen has a tendency of like, if things don't break, I mean, he has the body type to do it. Like, I don't even think this is a criticism, but I think the difference of like what you're seeing is the effectiveness of a pocket passer. Like pocket passers have not disappeared. You just haven't found the right one. And Joe Burrow is the right one. And I think what Cincinnati is doing up there, there's some dogs. Joe Burrow, cold, bruh. ice veins, man. It ain't nothing to him in big moments and big situations and big playoff games. But you see the difference in that game, what Joe Burrow can do from the pocket, and how cool, calm, and collected he is, versus what a Josh Allen can do. Credit to Cincinnati too defensively for even just creating pressure and making him uncomfortable. But you just kind of see the difference in the throws that they were making.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Cincinnati knew that they didn't want to run the ball. Like they're not a run ball dominant team, and that's where they should play a little bit more to help out Josh Allen. Because Josh can throw from in the pocket, but a lot of shit that he does that you see highlight wise, ESPN, NFL Network, or Twitter is all off script. Like it's a lot of off script stuff. That's why they've tried to add a second wide receiver to possibly help, because teams can just bracket Stephon Diggs. And I mean, are you really threatened by Isaiah McKenzie, Cole Beasley, or Gabe Davis? Not at all. Like you ain't worried about that shit one bit. So it's like in Buffalo, man, you got to either go and get a true number 2 or possibly another number 1 to pair with Diggs, or at least develop that run game a little bit more with an elite running back.
Yeah. Well, God bless them. Because they have I think around 20 free agents, upcoming free agents that they have to try and retool their roster. So God bless them. I don't think the window's closed because they have Stephon and Josh, but they better fill those holes ASAP, those potential holes ASAP. But AJ, I came to the revelation this weekend, bro. That man, let me ask it this way, because I don't want to say who's better. I want to say if they're in the same tier. Is Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins in the same tier of quarterbacks? I saw this question on Twitter about who's better, but I think the question should be are they in the same tier? Because I wait because I have an answer for that. So what do you think? Are they in the same tier, or is somebody a tier above?
Between Dak and who?
Kirk Cousins.
They both ass. I mean, at the end of the day, damn, how do I even break this down? They both the same player, but I actually think in some essence that Kirk will actually provide Dallas more than Dak. I think my issue with Dak, man, he refuses to use his athleticism. Like it's so maddening to me. Like even take this game over the weekend. There was a RPO play where he should have scored a touchdown, and he just ran casually, dog. Like bruh. I'm like, bro, you have no dog. You have no dog in you, son. Like you have no dog. You don't even want to score. Like you a stocky dude that's athletic. Like I remember you from Mississippi State. Like you not even playing your game. You thinking too much, and you can just tell he's just over processing stuff. And it's funny to me because like people are actually out here interviewing Kellen Moore for OC jobs, and he sucks. So it's just weird. But I mean, honestly, I think that Dallas would be better with a Kirk Cousins at quarterback than a Dak. But I think Dallas' issue is they don't know who they really want to be. They have no identity. Some people are out here trying to tell us they would have won the game if Tony Pollard didn't get hurt, but you're paying Ezekiel Elliott how much money? So it's like, what's the deal? And now Pollard's going into free agency, and you may not even re-sign him. But then on top of that, CeeDee Lamb is he's not a number 1. You move Amari Cooper and expect the pass game to be better. How? Like you trouting out Michael Gallup, who's still coming, who's still battling from the ACL. James Washington, he's cool, but these guys ain't Amari Cooper. Like Amari wins immediately at the line. Like people could say that maybe he disappeared in games. It's not his fault.
But you would rather have him on your goddamn team, bro.
Hell yeah, because that dude will route you up. Like it don't matter who's out there defending him. You know that you got to be alert. You got to be on your pinpoint game, or he's going to get you. And it's like Dallas played well enough defensively to win the game, even though I still think they have some weaknesses on their defense, but they played well enough to win the game. but ultimately you can't have your quarterback just producing turnovers in every game. I don't know if he had one against Tampa, but I mean Tampa is a washed up ass team. But I mean when your man is throwing 2 interceptions in the playoff game, and prior to that he's had an interception in every other game he's played in since he returned from injury. Like, you can't win with that. If I'm Dallas, man, I might possibly draft a quarterback first round. Like, no bullshit. If Anthony Richardson is there, I might go get him. If Will Levis is there, I might go get him, because they can't really move on from Dak's contract, and no team is going to trade for Dak, like, especially provide you value. But it's like,
so you're saying just accept it and move on and put him on the bench if you have to.
Yeah, because I mean, how else could you improve? Like, you could go sit here and say, hey, we'll go get a wide receiver in the draft. I mean, I don't really love any of the wide receivers first round wise that I would take them. Like, I'm not in love with Quentin Johnson or whatever the case is. But man, if I have a talent like an Anthony Richardson there, I have to go get him. And I also got to move away from Mike McCarthy. I mean, you brought it up. I didn't even bring it up the other week. How I mentioned, like, Ron Rivera don't do shit. Like, he's just there. Mike McCarthy is the same way, bro. Like, there's very few game manager head coaches in the NFL, but like, these guys manage the games poorly, and it's horrible. Like, what does Mike McCarthy do? Like, nothing at all. Just like Ron Rivera, they do nothing but manage games poorly. And I don't know what Jerry Jones is gonna do, but I would possibly hire Dan Quinn to be head coach. I don't see Sean Payton going there, because I feel like Sean wants a relationship with a GM, and nobody really wants that job where your owner is doing press conferences before you even get to the podium after games. But Dan Quinn has already been in that office and been within that organization long enough to understand the ins and outs. I feel like they have to get rid of Mike McCarthy, because what does he bring to the table? If he's not calling plays and he's not managing the game well, what are you here for? Like, look at the last play of the game. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, I mean, the chances of it being successful.
I have a theory.
I mean, the chances of you being successful on 4th down is already slim to none. But then to line up Zeke at center and have your lineman line up at wide receiver, like, what are you doing?
So I have a theory, bro. Like, I really think, like, based on how they set up, again, like, in terms of what they wanted to get done versus what actually happened is different conversations. But I think what they wanted to get done was, like, have blockers out in front for whoever catches the ball. I don't even know if the person who they threw it to was supposed to be the person he was supposed to throw it to initially. But I think my thing is with them is it was always about trying to get the ball in somebody's hands quick and have those blockers out there so they can have like a running start at the defenders, and you can kind of get them downfield quicker, and you can use your laterals to like a Zeke and Dak or something. I don't know. And like, the play was so poorly executed from Dallas's side. You don't even know which, like, nobody knows which angle they was going. But I wanted to, where is this? Hold on, one second. Maybe I dropped it. Dakota, get away from me, bro. All right. I don't know where it's at. But if you see it, do not eat it. All right. Dak, man. I saw a comment from bruh, shut up. Come here. I saw a comment from, I think it was Jimmy Ward or maybe Tre'Davious Ward. One of the Wards, bruh. And they had said post game, one of Dak's issue is he can't read his own defenses. And like, if you think about it, some of his turnovers came off the strength of that man, or excuse me, some of his turnovers and mistakes, his errors that should have been intercepted. Dakota, come here. Sit down. Focus. You are disrupting my show. But one of his issues, bro, has always been about the fact that, or excuse me, one of his issues in the game was always about the fact that, like, he was making some of these mistakes, and you're like, why isn't he saying this properly? I think about where were they at? In the red zone, and I think he tried to fit the ball into a tight zone space, and he was like a second or two late. And it ultimately got tipped and it got picked off. The Fred Warner interception. He had a couple other ones where he was late throwing the football because he wasn't seeing the zone right, and ultimately it hurt them. And that's kind of where I'm like in my head. Matter of fact, even think about the overthrow to CeeDee Lamb where he was down the seam and Fred Warner made a play on the football. You have T.Y. Hilton on the left side. And I saw a breakdown on Twitter from two professional quarterbacks who even said,
I ain't like Dan Orlowski's breakdown of that play. I thought he was fucking tripping.
Yeah, like even with the T.Y. being open, there was a conversation that if he read the blitz right and knew that, or even saw that the cornerback that was covering CeeDee Lamb was coming in on the corner blitz, like CeeDee should be hot. CeeDee should be the hot man, and that ball should be out before Fred Warner even gets to CeeDee Lamb. So like these are decisions that Dak's making that in my head I'm like, I wonder if the book is out on Dak moving forward, because it's only a matter of time till defensive coordinators catch up to what the Niners are doing and they test you consistently until you pass the test. And it may be the case that Dak never passes this test again, and Dallas is stuck with that $40 million hit, a $40 million contract annual, and a $98 million cap hit if they wanted to move on from him. I think that they're stuck, but I also think those are good things to come for people that's in the division. In parentheses, although it doesn't matter if Washington doesn't improve them damn selves.
Facts. I mean, I think you need better coaching and you need a better quarterback. And I don't really know how they address it, nor do I really care how they address it. I think we as Washington fans got our own issues. They got to get a quarterback. If they even had a Dak, they'd probably be in the playoffs, bro. So it's like, I guess that's where we transition into who's going to be the next offensive coordinator of the Washington Commanders.
Can't stand easy. Let's go through the list right quick. It was a DW about them all. Oh, don't worry about it. Brown will chuck a couple first at Dallas. Oh my Lord, Don't put no terrors in my head, man. I ain't got time to think about that. I'm having a good day. But look, so here's who they've interviewed so far for everybody who doesn't know. Pat Shurmur, Ken Zampese, the in-house interview. Charles London, Eric Stootsville. Stootsville, comes from Miami. He is their I think he is their running backs coach. Charles London is the Atlanta Falcons running back coach. Pat Shurmur is currently unemployed. And then Thomas Brown today was interviewed. He is the Los Angeles Rams assistant head coach and tight ends coach. So here's who we have so far in terms of the list. And I was serious when I said Zampese. I think that what helped me in my thought, AJ, was the fact that Linnell came on the show last week and he kind of gave his thoughts on, who he thinks is going to be the guy. I mean, and he also shed light on why he thinks that he would be the guy, like the relationship that he and Sam Howell has right now in terms of like how things happen throughout the season. He believes that that's going to be a significant factor. But also not even just thinking about quarterback coach relationship. Quarterback coach relationship. I don't know. Like if you think about Thomas Brown, right? Thomas is interviewing for head coaching opportunities throughout the last two seasons, the last two coaching cycles. He's interviewed for head coaching jobs. And now he has the Los Angeles Chargers coming up next week, tomorrow. Wednesday, he has an interview with the Los Angeles Chargers. And you think about the opportunities that he has, and then you think about some other coordinators that's in the candidate pool for Ron Rivera. I just don't see this opportunity in Washington necessarily being worth someone who has a lot of things going for them taking that risk. And I think Ron Rivera will ultimately understand that as well. I don't think that should stop him from offering a Thomas Brown a job if he wows them. I think Ron Rivera should go out there, like, show your card. Like you ain't in no room, you ain't in no position to kind of be close to the vest or like play it casual with some of your candidates. Like if you want somebody and you're very impressed and you want to show them your vision, if you have a vision, if you have a plan, a true plan, which I'm not saying that he does or doesn't in this moment. I'm just saying that if you did have something, you need to lay that out to Thomas Brown or whichever candidate that you're involved with or that you're interested in externally, and let them know like this is something that we need and we want to move forward with our plans this offseason with you as our offensive coordinator. But point being, with all that being said, I think he takes all that into consideration and understands that I can offer 50 guys the job. I'm exaggerating, but you can offer so many people the job, and that doesn't mean that they'll be willing to come here knowing your situation as a possible lame duck head coach and a possible lame duck head coach for a new owner who may be looking to replace you as soon as they get in here. I'm not willing to take that risk as a candidate, so I'll pass. There enters Ken Zampese. That's what I think my guy is. Do I like it? I don't care. Like, I truly don't. I'm sorry for everybody that's listening. Like, I don't care about who the coordinator is in 2023 because I just don't see anything beyond that year with this regime. It's hard for me to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I care because I would still be watching the team, and
I mean,
I've seen Zampese call plays. He's not the guy, and I feel like if they hire him, this is all a hoax. Like if that's who you wanted, just go ahead and fucking hire him. You feel me? Like don't
wait.
Drag,
I didn't hear what you said. You said, what do you think is a hoax?
If they just hire Zampese, I would feel like this whole thing is just a hoax. Like don't interview all these candidates, especially majority of the candidates you interview have been minority. So don't put us through this whole ringer just to hire Zampese, because if you really break it down, they've requested an interview with Jim Caldwell, African American. They interviewed Charles London, African American. Eric Stutzfield is African American. Thomas Brown is African American. Mm-hmm. The only two people that they interviewed that haven't been African American is Pat Shurmur and Zampese. Zampese is an internal candidate. Pat Shurmur, he's washed. But at the end of the day, you didn't interview 4 African American offensive coordinators and then just go take this Caucasian dude at OC. Like, there has to be a play there overall. And there's a play for them for the betterment, because there could be potential for them to grow and possibly, step in for Ron if he were to get fired during the season, which is a possibility. Like, as a candidate, you got to be thinking about all these things. Like, you may not say it to Ron in your interview, but it's like, hey, man, if this motherfucker get fired during the season, I'll be the interim head coach, and I'll already be in the building with the new ownership to possibly run this thing. So, like, if you're a Thomas Brown, yeah, you're interviewing for head coaching jobs, but this is essentially an interview for a head coaching job as well. And you obviously are going to move on from the Rams, so why not look into it?
You put up a good argument, but I ain't gonna lie to you, AJ. I think that'll take a lot of guts and courage for somebody to see it that way and say, I'm good with that. Like, put it this way, like, now I'm not gonna sit here and say a new owner is gonna be completely naive to the idea of who his coaching staff is. Like, I'm sure he'll have conversations throughout the time of him being here in 2023 or them being here in 2023. And I'm sure he'll get to know whoever the new offensive coordinator is. And I guess for this example, let's use Thomas Brown. Just because that is the conversation. He may come to know Thomas Brown. He may really like Thomas Brown. But now all of a sudden he realizes that he wants a clean house. He wants a clean slate. He doesn't want to keep Thomas, regardless of who he is. He doesn't care who he is because he wants to pick his own guy or something like that. I don't know. But I think, to what you're saying is a really good argument and a good perspective on why Washington is interesting. But I think even with all of that taken into consideration, there's going to be several jobs out there that people say, you know what, I like this one better. And I think if you think about, all right, so who's you got the Chargers, Commanders, the Rams, the Patriots just been filled. I'm missing more. Carolina, in Indianapolis, like in Houston. So you have all of these spots open, and how many of those do you say, like, if you're a Thomas Brown or somebody like Thomas, I like these opportunities better than I like a 1 year shot in Washington that's not guaranteeing me anything? I'm seriously asking. I don't know.
I mean, if you're Thomas Brown, like I said, you got the opportunity to be in that office and start calling the plays and put your impression on the new ownership group immediately. Like I said, if this thing doesn't start off fast for Ron under new ownership, they're going to fire him. Like, they're not going to let him play out the whole season. So you get an opportunity to impress. Like, that's why I feel like they've interviewed so many African American potential.
Most to say they don't promote Del Rio or Zampese.
I mean, no new ownership group is gonna promote Del Rio, bro.
But it sounds like they're gonna make the decision before ownership.
Say that again.
But I was saying it sounds like they're gonna make this decision before new ownership comes into play. And to Jamal's point about Thomas Brown, I mean, why would he pick Washington if he had his choice of, so many other good jobs? I don't know how many other jobs he's up for right now, but you got to think Washington's job right now is at the bottom of the totem pole as far as comparison to the other jobs that are available right now. So I guess the incentive is what makes this place more attractive to a Thomas Brown than the other spots that are open right now.
So Dre, we know that he's interviewed for the Texas job, right? He's interviewed for the Texas job. The Chargers tomorrow. Chargers in the same exact position as Washington. Like, Brandon Staley is probably going to get fired, and they're not going to promote Thomas Brown to head coach. Like, no matter how well that offense does, like, I just don't see them possibly keeping Brandon Staley after this year. He's in the same boat. It seems like the Rams is not an option for him to return to at this point.
The Chargers don't have the question mark at quarterback that we have. So even if the Staley's position is a little in flux, he knows he can go here, and he has a hell of a quarterback to work with versus Washington. You don't have an answer there. So,
but I still think they're more stable in LA.
Yeah, they're a bit more stable offensively, but what helps you get the extra nudge to get a head coaching job? That's why Eric Bieniemy's name is being floated around. Like, no matter how successful you are as a black man, as an offensive coordinator, it's hard as fuck for you to get a head coaching job. Like, Eric Bieniemy, if he were Caucasian, he would have been hired 4 cycles ago just for being affiliated.
Yo, Pat Shurmur's coaching record is crazy, and he had 3 different head coaching opportunities and so many different offensive coordinator stints. Like, I couldn't believe looking at his track record that he kept getting hired until I realized exactly what AJ said. Like, it's impossible for a black man to have that track record. Like, think about it this way.
Josh McDaniels
just got fired, bruh. He just got fired. I don't see him getting a coordinator spot this year. And I'm not saying that he don't deserve it. I think he deserves several interviews. Like, I'm not saying none of that, but I think for a person in Pat Shurmur's status to see how he has been at several stops and not produced much of anything, and then a Byron Leftwich who has had statistically a top 5 or top 10 offense as a offensive coordinator title, I don't even see like what he has lined up for him. I don't believe that's going to be out there this year. And it's crazy for me to think, but it's like a track record.
Hey, Mual, wasn't Jason Garrett the OC of the Giants last year?
Yeah, he was.
He sucked as a head coach. And his offense sucked in Dallas.
But that's what they fall like, AJ. That's what they always fall back on. Like, if them dudes suck as a coach, they're always going to get an OC job somewhere else. Shit, Jay Gruden went and got an OC job with the Jaguars right after we fired him. I mean, they always have that lined up for him after it fails.
Of course, and that's where I'm saying, like, for a guy like Thomas Brown, Charles London, or Eric Stutzfield, you have to look at the bigger picture for yourself. Like, how do you push yourself to the next level career-wise? Because a lot of people are raving about Thomas Brown as a candidate, right? And is speaking on his intelligence and his knowledge of the game. But until he does it and proves his worth somewhere outside of Sean McVay, he's not going to get a job as a head coach.
But see, and you are right, and it's not fair because we literally just watched Kevin O'Connell go up there for like 1 fucking year or 1 or 2 years and got a head coaching job after coaching with Sean McVay. And you're not going to ask the same questions with Kevin O'Connell that a lot of people are probably going to ask with Thomas Brown or even Eric Bieniemy. Like, look at Eric Bieniemy. The only reason his name right now is tied to Washington is because people think he needs to get up under Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, because a lot of people are attributing his success and the Chiefs' success to what Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes do. Now in LA, where you had Sean McVay, like I said, Kevin O'Connell went up there for 1 or 2 years. Sean McVay was already an offensive genius before he even stepped foot up there, and he got a head coaching job within 1 or 2 years. So if you're not going to ask those questions for Kevin O'Connell, it's not fair to ask it for Thomas Brown. Like, don't give the excuse that, oh, well, he's working under Sean McVay, this is why he may not get anything bigger. But like I said, you can't use that excuse when we literally just saw Kevin O'Connell get the same opportunity, and he's a head coach now.
Where are we at with, if you had to rank, so there's 5 that we know of, and for the sake of this question, let's go ahead and insert, let's go down, Greg Roman, Jim Caldwell, Frank Wright, Byron Leftwich. Let's add those 4 into this conversation or this question. We know that Thomas has been interviewed. We know that Eric Studeville has been interviewed, Charles London, Zampese, and Pat Shurmur. Where are you ranking your coordinators in terms of, because I don't know, like, do we have a preference? Like, do we feel like do we have a like, are we emotionally invested into the decision? That's a side question, but the main question is, like, where do you think that they'll go? And I guess we can rank it from that regard, or where do you think they should go? Like, how do y'all want to rank this one? But I want to get like a top 3 in a sense, like a top 3. Maybe let's do where do you think that they should go, and then where do you think that they will go?
Where do we think some of these OCs are going to go?
Oh, my bad. To be clear, where do you think that the Commanders should go at OC? Where do you think that what do you think that they will do at OC?
I think that they should go Thomas Brown. I feel like you need that type of energy.
Too. That's your number 1?
You need that type of energy in the building, especially if you lose a guy who's very energetic, and a Chris Harris is moving on to the Titans. You need that type of guy within your locker room overall, but especially on the offensive side of the ball. I feel like, we don't know what he will do as offensive coordinator in the NFL, but, being under Sean McVay, that stamp of approval, his knowledge base, and also Ron has a rapport with him, as he's been a part of these minority coaching symposiums that happen annually. So he has familiarity with him there. I think that you got to give him a shot. Yeah, you took a chance with Scott Turner, but we really know why you took that chance, because you feel like you owe North Turner so much for your elevation as a head coach and getting your looks in San Diego. But Scott Turner should have never been the guy. It was just more so looking out. With this situation, you can't go into a Pat Shurmur or Zampese. Yeah, they have experience being OCs, but they've sucked at being OCs. I'd rather go with the unknown versus the known in this case, and just bet my bottom dollar that this person is going to be way better than what I had in here previously, and let them do their thing, and also bring in their guys that they would need for the offensive line, wide receivers coaching, and whatever the case is, quarterback coach wise. But secondly, I will also interview Greg Roman. May not have the best passing statistics, but overall, he's a pretty damn good offensive coordinator for what this team wants to do, as far as what Ron them have said, 2-1. Even if that is the case or not, he's pretty dominant in his run schemes and calling plays to that degree. Outside of that, I don't want to see Zampese. I don't want to see Shurmur. don't really care too much for Studsville. Don't know much about Charles London. Don't really like what Atlanta does overall. I feel like I'd rather see a guy that can come in and be an offensive coordinator and an assistant head coach in a sense, and take leadership of that side of the ball overall. And a guy that's pretty youthful. He's 36, 37 years old. Like that's what I would want to see. I think Thomas Brown also would attract free agents on the offensive side of the ball too.
Well, what do you think they will do? My bad. It was a two-parter. So you said your number one was Thomas. Your second was Greg Roman. You didn't give a third. But where do you think they will go?
I have no clue what they will do. Like I said, I feel like if they've interviewed all these minority candidates and to hire Zampese. Nah, I really don't know, because I feel like if I knew, they would have hired Zampese a while ago. I think they might have even elevated Zampese during the season if that's who they really wanted to go with. But I don't see Zampese wanting the job per se. I think he's just interviewing out of necessity. But there's no way in hell you can let that man run this offense. Like, yeah, I know we say it don't matter because it's a lame duck year, but in some essence, I still expect Ron to be aggressive with a quarterback. I don't expect Sam Howell to be the number one for this team. So if you're going to go get a quarterback, I would want to see an OC that's going to call plays correctly. If you bring Zampese in as OC, we're going to see the same thing as Scott Turner, because Zampese sucked as OC in Cincinnati, and what's going to change? Like, nothing's going to change. It's going to be the same exact script. It's going to be the same thing. He helped to prepare those quarterbacks week in and week out.
Jay, where you at?
So I'm gonna start with what they will do, what I think they will do. I think they're going to go the veteran route for one of these guys. I just honestly don't see Ron going. I mean, I just personally can't see him going in a situation where he's going with an unknown guy, because he just fired an unknown guy, so to speak, in Scott Turner. Scott Turner was the unknown guy when he hired him. He was supposed to be the up and coming, and 3 years later, you fire him. And with Ron in a make or break year, I mean, this definitely the fire's lit, because, you know, ownership's changing. He's going to have to go with someone who's proven and tried and someone he trusts in this league. And that's when you're talking about the Greg Romans and, you know, the Pat Shermers and even the Zampese to a lower level. But he's going to go with somebody, in my opinion, that he trusts, and, you know, someone that he thinks that's going to align with his vision, and someone that's proven. And reason being, like I said, with this being a year where he has to do something, in the talks with him and Martin Mayhew, I mean, if you listen to them talk, we want to run a run game, and it just sounds like they want someone more proven and more veteran experienced in that spot. So I mean, and if we're talking about the candidates I just named with the experience, and Roman, Shermer, and Zampese, out of those three, Roman would definitely be my top choice. I mean, he's one of the best run game coordinators in the NFL. And if Ron and Martin Mayhew was at any point truthful in their press conference, Roman would be their top candidate. I mean, that's assuming that Roman would even want to entertain here as an option for him. But what I would do personally, I mean, you know, if I was in a situation where I'm comfortable in my, stability with the team, Thomas Brown's probably my favorite prospect of those guys, because he is coming from a great coaching tree so far with Sean McVay. I mean, you know, he's soaked in a lot with Sean McVay, and you've seen what they can do with the talent. And, you know, that's a guy that, I mean, in a sense, he's kind of proven, but it's still unknown because he hasn't been the main guy there yet. So, you know, you are taking a bit of a chance with a Thomas Brown, but he would be my top choice if it was up to me. But again, I think they will do, they're going to go the veteran route, and they should be on Greg Roman's line. But again, also, I feel like part of me is feeling like this is dragging out because Kansas City hasn't lost yet. And I think they're waiting on Eric Bieniemy to see if they have a chance there with him, to see if, you know, there's something there. So we may not even get an answer until Kansas City loses, whenever that happens, if it happens in the playoffs.
First off, I already got my bets put in, so it's going to happen, Trey. Just letting you know that right now. Man.
Hold up, Maul. What's happened? What you got the bet on? What you got?
Man, money line parlay your boy, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Money line parlays, Eagles, Bengals, bro. You know what I'm saying? I got royally screwed this weekend, taking my chances betting with Dallas against San Francisco.
I wouldn't have done that too.
Yeah, I like the number. I like the number all week, so I'm not even
A lot
mad.
of people did.
Yeah, I like the number all week, and even on game day, I was hyped. I was hyped for Buffalo game and the Dallas game. I had Buffalo minus 4.5. And it never even dawned on me to catch that soft middle. Like when the number shoots up to like a 6, like a key number, it never even dawned on me like, Mo, take the 6 on Cincinnati, cover yourself, have a happy medium. And oh my goodness, bro.
Hey, you should have talked to AJ beforehand. He would have told you not to bet on Josh Allen.
He didn't told us. He didn't said it in the beginning of the show too. Hey, they got their ass whooped, definitely. Bro. But yeah, I don't know what's going to go on with BME. That's going to be interesting.
I think somebody gets hired this week though. They can't sit around and wait on Eric Bieniemy. I don't even know where these rumors are coming from.
I think they can wait on
one
AJ.
person.
They really are in a position where they can wait on him because guess what? At the end of the day, let's be honest. I think they really want to hire Zampese. I think that's their ultimate fallback option, and they know he's there, and they got the luxury of waiting on the Eric Bieniemy. I mean, that's my.
But Dre, the Zampese comes from an Air Coryell system. From what they want to run, that is not anything. They don't relate. Like Zampese's father had a role in putting together Air Coryell system. So it's like it. I don't know. I think maybe we think that because Ron is so lazy. I just don't feel like I feel like he has to get out of his own way. And if he hires Zampese, man, like if new ownership is confirmed in March, bro, they gotta fire Ron. Because like you just full of shit at this point. Like you saying one thing, you doing the other. Like I just feel like they have to hire somebody outside of Zampese. Or it just looks distasteful at this point because
I agree.
Like I said, you've interviewed 4 minority candidates from the jump. Before I even knew who the candidates were, I said this is a perfect opportunity for a minority because of the fact that you're not gonna get somebody like a Greg Roman to possibly come in here. Nobody's trying to hire him to be no head coach. So the selling point on that is insane. Like he's not coming in here thinking, hey, I'm gonna possibly get elevated. You would have to pay him a crazy amount for him to do the job. And there's other opportunities, plenty of OC jobs available in the marketplace. So it's like Zampese, he would just add so much more stress to his life by being OC. And he remembers how that went for him in Cincinnati. Like he was OC for a whole year there, and I think he got fired 2 games into the new year.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's content being a quarterback's coach. Like he's cool with that. But there's no way that he wants to be OC. He can interview for it. It might sound cool and all, but at the end of the day, you can't take us down this long ass road of OC and fire Scott Turner to then bring in Zampese as OC. You might as well kept Scott Turner. At least we know who the fuck that is. You feel me?
I agree.
I
don't trust him.
Yeah, you got to drink.
No, I'm just gonna say I don't trust him. I agree with everything AJ said. I just don't trust him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't trust Ron too, but it's like at some point, bro, like you got to do something different. Like you got to do something different, and I just hope that now with everything on the line, like his coaching career is on the line. If you bring in a guy like that, and you bring in a guy like Thomas Brown, man, he injects new life into your offense that they haven't had. Like Scott Turner isn't real hands-on with those guys on the offensive side of the ball. Like you now bring in someone who's actually played on a high level, also been around championship quality teams and just came off a Super Bowl win, and someone who's a bright mind overall. You might need that. Like you might need that injection. Nobody has ever said those type things about Scott Turner. They just said, "Oh, that's North, sir."
But AJ, don't you think if they hired Thomas Brown this week and they were really seriously considering him as a candidate, like they probably make that decision? They don't let him. They don't wait. They don't let this linger.
They got to offer.
Well, that happens. That interview happened today. That interview happened today. So maybe by tomorrow he gets hired or Thursday. I mean, I feel like he's not probably going to get hired in San Diego. But I mean, it's just them doing their due diligence because if I'm not mistaken, they interviewed the passing game coordinator or the OC. They've interviewed multiple Ram coaches over there in Los Angeles for the Chargers, the passing game coordinator and the OC. So, I mean, I feel like they have to make a decision on OC this week. I don't know if you could really sit around and wait for Eric Bieniemy. I haven't really heard anybody I feel like would be hella credible mentioning it. I could see where the name could be mentioned, but I'm not really rocking with like Benjamin Albright and what he says.
That's what I'm about to say. He was the one. You was asking where it came from. You was asking where that Jones came from. Ben Albright was the one who, and to be honest with you, he was the only one I've ever seen to this point of us doing this stream that it said Eric Bieniemy is a target for Washington, or is a target in Washington or something like that. He said that, what's today? He said that like a few weeks ago, and I haven't seen anything since. Like, I haven't seen anything since.
He doubled down on it this week as well, I believe. Like, he doubled down on it.
I don't even know what that means. Like, not literally what you're saying, but like, I don't even know what that means. Like, what are you hanging on to? Like, what is the benefit of you telling people that they really want to move forward with Bieniemy? I mean, I get it. And in some teams, some teams do wait until the end of the, like, some teams do hire the Super Bowl participant coaches. But those announcements are even made before the Super Bowl. So in the event that, the Chiefs do make it, knock on wood, and God forbid they don't, because my money's already locked in. Like, this decision should probably be announced before they even reach that point, or even an interview. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. He said they hired Zan Peasy. I'm going to be in the spaces. That's hilarious. Look, God bless you with them spaces, bro.
Yeah, I've never done a space to this day.
Yeah, you got to hop in one, man. One time, me and AJ in there, you got to hop in just to check it out for a quick second.
Yeah, bro. I just be in there hearing what they talking about, man. But it's becoming a little bit redundant because all I'm hearing about is Sam Howell, and I'm so annoyed.
I know he done. He don't like that. He don't want to hear that Sam Howell shit.
I hate hearing about mid-ass players. I'm actually doing a space tomorrow with Benjamin St. Juice and Kelvin Harmon, who used to play
the zone. I went to that first one, but I don't know. I forgot what they was talking about.
Yeah, so Ben asked me to come on there tomorrow and host with them. So I don't even know what time it is, but yeah.
Hey man, man. You got make sure you hold it down, man. You know what I'm saying? You didn't see your boy host a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Now it's your turn to run the ship for your boy Ben and Kelvin. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Earn that thing. Man. Get a couple people up there to ask some questions.
It'll be a good conversation. We'll see what's
ask
going
him about
on.
Sam Howell, AJ. Ask him how they like Sam Howell. AJ gonna leave that shit as soon as Ben St. Juice say Sam Howell is a great quarterback. AJ gonna be like, we ain't friends no more.
He gonna lead the space.
Nah,
That's what
I ain't even touching on no quarterback stuff with them because I mean, unless it comes up, but yeah, I don't want to hear shit about no Sam Howell. I'm seeing people change their profile pictures, motherfuckers showing.
It's crazy. Like I can't.
Like, dog,
why
are you posting him working out, bro? Like, what's good?
I have a friend. Like I have a friend who's texting me, bro. Cool, like real good friend, but like we only talk about the boys, like the Commanders in person. But like recently we started text, like, I mean, casually over time. But point being, bro, he sent me the video workout at Sam Howell. Always, hey, bro, love you, bro. You know what I'm saying? You still my boy. But he sent me the video at Sam Howell and said, matter of fact, what did he say? He said, I'm loving this. And I said, bro. I said, not you too, bro. We fall in love over these workouts, dog. Like, he ain't even throwing the football. He's just working
I've been around this franchise way too long. I don't even care about training camp throws. You can't even show me a training camp touchdown that's going to impress me nowadays. I don't care about none of that shit, and especially from a quarterback. Maybe from a wide receiver, you might catch me off guard. You show Jahan Dotson get a 70-yard bomb in training camp. All right, that dude, a dog, he going to be all right. But a quarterback, I don't care who threw that goddamn 70-yard bomb. That don't mean nothing to me in training camp until I see them dudes play the game. And that's the thing about Sam. Sam Howell's intriguing. Yeah, Sam Howell's intriguing. I mean, he's a 5th-round prospect. He was a guy who was talked up in college. Yada, yada, yada. I get it. But Sam Howell hasn't proven anything. And it was like, we had this conversation before the game, before they played the Cowboys. We talked about this. And I think, Jamal, you were saying, what can Sam Howell do in this game, I guess, to prove anything? And I'm like, nothing really. It's nothing. Like, if he, honestly, the only thing Sam Howell could have did well was just not look bad. That's the only thing he could have. And that's the thing.
If he looked bad, that's a problem.
Yeah, if he would have looked bad, that would have been a problem. No one's talking about any possible QB1. But even if Sam Howell went out there and threw 4 or 5 touchdowns in that game, 300 yards, it still wouldn't have meant nothing. Like, because again, that's a 1-game sample size. In the last game of the season, people probably going to use an excuse that the Cowboys weren't trying hard or whatever. It was a lose-lose situation for Sam. The only thing he could have did was just not throw up on himself, and he didn't.
Hey, you telling me a rookie quarterback then put up 30, 35 points on a team who was still playing for some at the time? You tell me my rookie quarterback doing that? I may be inclined to believe that we may have something in Sam Howell. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not even gonna bullshit you.
The reason why
I'm not even sold. I take that back. I may be interested as QB.
But remember, Mual, and I said this on that show too. The reason why that wouldn't have meant much, well, to me or maybe even the decision makers, because like I said, we watched Matt Flynn do that before. A guy like Matt Flynn got a whole contract off of like one garbage game and ended up getting.
You seen Gardner Minshew get hyped. You seen Gardner Minshew get hyped. Like, none of that shit matters, bro.
Right.
Like, that's why I'm just so, I almost like, Sam is a good guy, man, but I almost hate the fact that Washington even drafted him. Like, I wish they would have took, like,
on. They was going to do that with anybody, bro. They going to do that with any quarterback.
They just don't let the fans talk about
it. Like, that's
what's driving me right now.
It's just, it's driving me insane because it's like, people are really trying to sell themselves the fact that this guy could possibly play in 2023 as QB number 1. Like, week 1, you're going to go out there with Sam Howell. Can you imagine, just for a second, put yourself in the shoes of Terry McLaurin and you just signed the extension. I don't give a fuck what he says on camera or he wants to. Terry's still a nigga at the end of the day. I'm sorry to inform you guys, right? Right? Like, imagine you work your whole offseason to have to start off with Sam Howell when options out there that you could possibly explore, like a Lamar Jackson, an Aaron Rodgers, a Derek Carr, or even an Anthony Richardson, who has way more potential and higher ceiling than Sam Howell. Like, you would be upset. Like, even just think about the rest of the team. It's like, bro, I'm coming back here and I'm busting my ass to play with Sam Howell when teams out there possibly could acquire Lamar Jackson, Derek Carr, or Aaron Rodgers. Like, you have to look at it from that standpoint. Like, yo, the best we could do was tell us that Sam Howell's going to be QB1. Sam Howell gets injured, then what? Then what?
And this is a guy they didn't even want to start the last game of the season.
They didn't even want him to start the last game of the year, bro. They was going to play this man a half. Taylor Heineke had to vouch for him and say, hey, man, go ahead. Let that man get his thing off because, you know, I'm going into free agency. I ain't even trying to put myself at risk going against Michael Parsons and them boys, you know, hitting up on me. They try to make these excuses for Taylor Heineke, like, oh, my God, he's so banged up. Like, he's sore. His body hurts. Oh, my God. Like, everybody else ain't hurt week 18 of the year. Like, dog, we know what's up, man. Like, they don't like Sam Howell that much to even be considering this. And it just sucks because they can't even refute it at this point. Like, they're not going to come out and say Jonathan Jones put out this bullshit-ass report or whatever. But there's no way that Ron Rivera is starting Sam Howell. Like I'm willing to put it. If somebody in these comments is watching this show is willing to put up a bet, we can make a bet. I bet $200 if Sam Howell starts week 1 for the Washington Commanders, I will pay you $200. If he don't, you owe me $200. Whoever wants to take that bet, whether it be Hawk, BT, whoever's in love with Sam Howell.
But AJ, you better put a stipulation on that because with Washington, he might start by default. Motherfucker might get hurt. Whoever they sign or trade for.
Hey, even if somebody gets hurt,
starting quarterback.
If he gets hurt, if somebody gets hurt and you gotta come in for them, cool. I still give you the 200, but it gotta be week 1. There's no way that Sam Howell is starting week 1, bro. Like motherfuckers that play Madden don't even go and start Sam Howell at quarterback. So why would you in real life? Like no discredit to him, but it's like if Ron them really believed in him, they would have gave him an opportunity way sooner than the last game of the year. I mean, in the month of December, they didn't win any games until they won no games. That last win came in January of this year. So don't you think that they would have been like, man, we need some type of spark here. We don't have the best Taylor. Let's try Sam. Let's see what he brings to the table. Nah, the whole time, everybody that works in that building has been telling us that Sam isn't ready. The whole time we was having the conversation when Wentz got hurt, hey, they should bring in Sam to start instead of Taylor Heineke. Oh, he's not ready. He's not ready. Oh, now he's going to be ready to lead a whole fucking team 2023? Get out of here.
Never know, man. Never know. All right. So I think that's it for us. Last thing, who wins the championship games? I already told you all because I bet on them. I got Eagles making it out of the NFC. Bengals going on the road beating Kansas City.
Some bad bets, bro. Like, what's good?
I don't have time. I don't have time to listen to your criticism, AJ. Where you at?
You already put his money in, AJ.
Hey, but you're gonna have to listen to my ass next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
All right, what we got? Podcast. You got the Niners coming out?
Man, I got the Niners and the Bengals.
Me and AJ got the same thing. Sorry, Jamal. I haven't put no bets on it, but and the only reason I'm picking it, honestly, I would pick the Chiefs, but Mahomes' injury scaring me a little bit, man. That high ankle sprain, like that's not no injury that's easy to come back from in 1 week. Yeah. And I'm a little worried about that. So I'm rolling with the Bengals.
They going to blitz the hell out of Patrick Mahomes and get him moving.
Because that's a hard injury to recover from in 1 week. And he's saying he's gonna play. Like I was skeptical that he was even gonna play. And the fact that he's gonna play, I'm like, how limited is he gonna be? And he could go out there and have a Jordan flu game. I mean, this is Patrick Mahomes, man. So he might have one of them games. But right now, my heart's saying Bengals and 49ers, man. Those that's what I'm going with.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Like the Niners is, I mean, their defense clearly travels. I've been betting against Brock Purdy for like the past X amount of weeks. I'm not about to stop betting on him in the championship game. I mean, betting against them in the.
Oh, you getting the Nick Saban meme on us, man? I'm not gonna stop.
Yeah, I'm not gonna stop, bro. And I don't think that's a bad idea. I think like Brock Purdy even started off shaky against Dallas. Like nothing was really like it's, and he started off shaky. Was against the Seahawks. Like it was there. Like that's there. And I don't know. Like it's a very good matchup in that championship game for both sides. Like
really, it is.
And for both conferences. But look, man, I'm not going to bet on Purdy on the road in fucking Philly, bro. Can't do it, dog. Give me my money, bro. Run me up my money, man. Come on, FanDuel, talk to me, dog. We're gonna see what's up. That's gonna wrap it up for us today. Appreciate everybody who tuned in. Appreciate everybody watching live right now. The fellas will be back next week. We'll do some more recapping. We'll talk whatever is the latest news. Hopefully we are talking about an offensive coordinator at that point. We'll see. If there is no offensive coordinator, I guess we'll start bringing in some of the offseason topics. Some of the free agents and transactions that needs to happen with Washington. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. All 32 side is up tomorrow, 7 p.m. And then we'll be back Friday for the Commanders Morning Show. Y'all take it easy. Be safe. Dre, AJ, y'all boys be safe, man. I'll talk to you all later, man. We're out of here.
Yes,
Peace.